what even is this? Like, things on the side of its neck. Like, are these like veins? Well, it makes it look like a giant feathered dick. Hello, human dinosaurs. Yes, this is Lopho, and we're back with another episode of my live streams. Yes, I don't know why I keep saying an episode of. I am not even doing video recordings anymore, so... Yes, so today we are going to be looking at the new Dinosaur Toy releases. We got some more couple of cool dinosaur news coming out, so we'll be looking at that as well. So, yeah, so shall we begin? The first dinosaur that we're going to be talking about is going to be Papo. Yes, so, yeah, and... It is, well, abysmal to say the least. A fun fact, the Papo dinosaur figures are actually sculpted by a Korean sculptor, which actually has been sculpting the couple of the new dinosaur toys. But it feels like since last year, Papo has gotten a new sculptor for the dinosaur toy line, and it looks absolutely horrendous, right? I'm sorry, but look at this. Like, this is like something like freaking like Schleichwood made. Look at the textures. Look at his face. Like, what even is this? Like, things on the side of its neck. Like, are these like veins? Well, it makes it look like a giant feathered dick. Like, we'll have to see if like more pictures come out, but right now it's not looking too good for the Concominator. On the other hand, the Dinosaurs, I guess it looks decent enough. I wouldn't like directly shit on it. Like, I don't know. It feels like the Dinosaurus' head is pretty small. Like this. Like, its head is like quite big. Like, yeah, it's quite big. Where else you see this guy? The head feels so much smaller compared to the body. I don't know if that's like an actual thing that happened. But I can't be too sure. Like, Dinosaurus is not something that you see that often. But personally, I don't have the collector Dinosaurus yet. So, I don't know what to say. Like, it looks okay. I wouldn't, like, directly shit on it. Whereas the Concominator, yeah, this one looks absolutely abysmal from the pictures I can see right now. Like, look at it. Like, the fact that it's, like, a picture on a catalog with all sorts of, like, the old sculptors, like, dinosaur sculpts, like the amazing Pentaceratops and the Stego. Like, and then you have, like, this. It sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, I don't know, like, look at this. Like, this one and this one is made from the same company. Like, not just, like, the sculpt as well. Like, the color scheme is really bad as well. Like, look at the differences in how they are, like, painted. Like, the Papo used to be, like, the most, like, decently affordable and, pretty okay, figure manufacturer because of the fact that its figures were, like, pretty much up to, like, sculptor level. But at the same time, it was also, like, decently cheap. It was sort of affordable. Like, it isn't, like, not even, like, retail prices, which is, like, $70, $80. It was, like, usually, like, under $50 for most of the figures. And it was, like, half the price. So it was, I remember back in the day, we had, like, a little vote on what company was the best dinosaur toy manufacturer. Yeah, luckily enough, it feels like they just hired new people to do the dinosaurs because the old, sculptor is actually still working for Papo, and yeah, this is the new dinosaur, not new dinosaur. So he sculpted 2 aquatic animals for the prehistoric animal lineup, and look at this. Immediately it becomes apparent that it looks way much better. And yes, this is the Chronosaurus that is gonna get released pretty soon. Yeah, so Chronosaurus. It's actually one of the few like large pliosaurs, I think, because like, yeah, because we originally had like Liopleurodon being the big meat-eating like, dino, why do I keep saying dino? I've been playing R too much lately. Right, prehistoric animal, but we nowadays know that now the Liopleurodon wasn't as big as we previously thought. It was actually pretty small, so which means that unfortunately, yeah, we don't really have that many big dinos. We also have Predator X, but that was also greatly over-exaggerated. But still, Chronosaurus is still, like, was still formidable. I think it was, like, what, like 10 meters long, I think? Chronosaurus, yeah, it was still, like, pretty goddamn big. Like, you wouldn't, like, want to mess around with that guy, so. Chronosaurus, pretty awesome, I'd say. And we also have Dacosaurus, which is a pretty welcome addition. Right, editing Lopho here. Right, turns out this is actually not a Dacosaurus, but a Mosasaurus. And yes, and I've got conflicting sources, right? So some people actually say that this figure is going to be released at the quarter of 2022. Well, the catalog actually says it's coming out in 2023. So just take my word. I think it might be because of regional differences here. So yeah, Papo never really, like, Papo is pretty much, I'd say, one of the most solid dinosaur toy companies. By solid I mean like not just solid in quality, but also, you know, solid when it comes to the lineups. Like, they rarely add in new things and they rarely remove things from the roster. Although I did realize it becoming a more and more common thing over and over. So I feel like recently, since for the past couple of years, Schleicher has been doing significantly better. And well, next year we're gonna have some new creatures such as the Dilophosaurus, the Gastonia, the Gallimimus, and the Edmontosaurus. So the Edmontosaurus is such a shame. Yeah, the Edmontosaurus. This is the one that was released this year, I think. And they actually managed to get the crest right and the hooves, but because they based it off the Jurassic World Edmontosaurus, I feel like, yeah, they probably like searched up this picture, because like you can obviously see the color schemes, they are very similar. Like, you know, like the same, like it happened with Majungasaurus last year as well. They just took the Dinosaur King coloration. I feel like Blake has been just ripping off Google searches of the certain species. Like, they are getting decently in quality, but unfortunately, it also means that most of the times they don't really give a shit about copyright, which is a shame. I mean, but at the same time, you can't really copyright strike like this dinosaur design. Like, since that is why you have so many like Jurassic Park ripoffs, such as Namu and yeah, Namu is definitely one. Papo used to be one as well, but you really couldn't like get a copyright strike on them in a YouTube sense, you know, if you know what I mean. Because it is an actual animal. You can't copyright strike an existing animal. Like, you can copyright strike the Night Fury from How to Train Your Dragon. You can't copyright strike a Montosaurus or a Dilophosaurus. Like, it doesn't work because they are actual animals. You can't really copyright strike them. And unfortunately, that is why, like, I can keep making these ripoffs. And it's such a shame because the Edmontosaurus, it looks decent. Like, it even has the head crest like the Jurassic World, like, you know, because the actual Edmontosaurus had this fleshy head crown as well, due to a very well preserved skull fossil. However, we don't actually get, now we actually have better skin impressions of the Edmontosaurus. And we now know that its hand, in fact, they had these giant hooves instead of having, you know, clawed feet. They would have like giant fingernails like this. You know, it feels like a giant fingernail. Yeah, this is the Edmontosaurus that Collector made. So, yeah. They had a giant, one big morphed finger. It looks really weird in a term. So Dilophosaurus. So, yeah, we have this one as well. I feel like this one, it doesn't look too terrible except for the arms. It is very monsterized, whereas the actual Dilophosaurus had much smaller arms. But yeah, I mean, Safari has made a decent one. So yeah, you can sort of see that its hand isn't as big as it is in the picture. Like, is it similar sized? I don't know, but this Dilophosaurus is very like monsterized, so it definitely feels very you know, very monster-like. And I think like the color scheme is based on the battle damage figure by Mattel. I could be wrong, but like this color scheme is very similar. And we also have Gallimimus, which sort of looks like the Struthiomimus from Prehistoric Planet. I feel like they have been inspired by that. And we also have Gastonia, which looks very similar to the Polacanthus made by Papo, in fact. Like, the fact that it even has this really weird red monotone coloring. Anyways, yeah, there it is, the Polacanthus. Yeah, they look very similar. I mean, yeah, sure, they're both like nodosaurs, so like there is like, of course, like they're gonna look similar, but I don't know. I feel like one was strongly inspired by the other. Like, they look very similar, but yeah, Polacanthus has larger spikes at the end of its tail, whereas the Gastonia was more flat. And therefore, instead, Gastonia had more scissor-like protrusions on its shoulders. So that's what makes the Polacanthus and Gastonia different. But they both have a gray underbelly, and they both have like this one monotone coloring. So, like, I mean, I think it's justified. Although, like, I could be wrong. They could have just searched up Gastonia and base it off it. Like, the model looks nice, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the model looks nice. Like, yes, so next up we have a Tarbosaurus and the Shadow Raptor from... Right, so the Shadow Raptor isn't actually from the dinosaur line. It is from a weird fantasy line, but it actually has a Shadow Raptor, so I decided to include it as well. Honestly, like, it looks very similar to a Tyrannosaurus model that... Yeah, this one. This one, exactly. Like, the sculpts and the poses look very similar. I think it could be just because of the pose. They do have some differences. For example, like, the ostoderms on his back is more croc-like on the Tarbo, and whereas it's more like in a single line in a Tyrannosaur. But they both have like sculpts that show some that honestly look weirdly shrink wrapped, so they can, like, you see their ribs on their side. So does the Tarbosaurus, so they look very similar. But people actually have pointed out that the Tarbosaurus looks very similar to a paleo art from this paleo artist from Royal Martin. And yeah, I think they do have a valid point. Like, the colorations are extremely similar, which is quite interesting. Because yeah, Papo, not Papo. Shrike always like tends to like rip off like color schemes from the first thing they end up Google searching. So yeah, I mean, it sort of makes sense. Although it also could be just a coincidence, in fact, because this one has like black markings on the head, this one doesn't. It just could be very similar, but at the same time, this definitely doesn't look like a Tarbosaurus in real life. The real life Tarbosaurus did not have like these weird croc-like protrusions. Like, people tend to like give dinosaurs like croc skins. Like, it's something that happens all the time, simply because people think, like, you know, dinosaurs like giant crocodiles and stuff. But the reason, like, you can't really add in something like this compared to what we have with Edmontosaurus, which are like, you know, like small, like you know, like ridges on his back, like the small like horn, like ridges on his back, I would say, because these aren't actually fossilized. Like, some fossilization of that isn't something that happens often. Whereas with the Tarbosaurus, with this guy, we have croc scales, which are ostoderms, which actually are fossilized. So it makes no sense for that to exist. And the Shadow Raptor, yeah, it's like a JP, like Jurassic Park-esque raptor with like weird things and shadowy functions. It reminds me of the Dark Veloci from Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah.